Hello, I'm Jenny 2.0 and today I'm going to do a bit of a commentary over a watercolour that I did. This is what I would consider my first official watercolour. I messed about a bit with some landscape stuff, but nothing I would really consider framing or like be overly proud of necessarily. So I knew that I wanted to do some pet portraits. Before this I did an acrylic of my corgi Percy. That video will be up shortly, but this is a watercolour of my previous dog Sugar, picture in the top right, and being that she was a black toy poodle, I knew that I wanted to try to do a rainbow watercolour. Rather than having it be realistic and just be quite dark, I wanted it to be very bright and very colourful, which was quite reminiscent with her personality, I thought. So yeah, first attempt doing watercolour, I'm pretty proud of it. I know that I haven't done it exactly as you would probably recommend doing it. For instance, I'm not layering up different levels of watercolour. I'm treating it a bit like a cell shaded piece. I'm not really layering over too much, but I'm working with light to dark, just because you can't put light colours over the watercolour, so that's why I started with the yellow highlights, and then I'm adding different tones and colours to the ears, and then slowly building up the depth, and eventually I just keep making it go darker and darker in places to get that depth of value. I'm not too happy with how certain parts of the ears came out, but overall I'm really happy with it. I'm currently using Van Gogh Watercolours. And then I've got a palette that I mixed my colours into. And I mixed all the colours first beforehand. I think I had about 12 colours mixed. 3 tones of blue, 3 tones of pink or whatever. Just so I can keep referring back to it and making sure the levels are right for the different types of light and in the image. I can make sure that I'm using the right tone of blue each time I want to swap. I still need to work on my ability of being able to sketch and not see the sketch lines. I think it works fine for this, considering watercolour is very light medium, and I think the sketch lines kind of add character to it. But even though I'm drawing quite light, I would recommend going over any sketches that you make with a putty rubber. They don't erase completely, they soften out and bring out the pigment in the pencil, so it makes the lines a lot lighter. So if you're having the same issue as me, I would recommend doing that. I didn't, because I forgot, and I ended up liking how it looked anyways, added a bit of character to the piece. So I'm working on the second ear now, keeping the tones similar but still trying to bring out a bit more lighter colour because the light is hitting from that side. I didn't really have much rhyme or reason to the order of which I was working on this with. I just knew that I started with the light in places and then tried to get the dark tones in. But as I say, I wasn't layering over too much, because typically with watercolour you want to layer over the light colour and then add another layer on the medium colour, another layer on dark colour, and then add the details in. Given how this was, it wasn't very possible to do that, given the fact I wanted the ears to look poodly. And it wouldn't quite be, maybe it would be easy to do that, but I didn't think it would be easy to do that layering it up, so that's why I did individual strands of hair to really make each strands of hair pop out. Throughout this piece I'm using some very fine brushes, mostly because, as I say, because I'm not layering, I needed the fine brushes to get into the nooks and crannies and not go over by accident different areas that I didn't want to go over, like the yellow in the ears. Typically with watercolours I do have some watercolour brushes. You can see a couple on the screen in the recording. I mostly use those for fill areas, and then the thinner ones I use for like finer details. As I say, not traditionally how you typically work on watercolour. Came out a lot more blue than I was expecting. I was planning on throwing a bit more purple in there, but I just tried to pick a tone for each colour and then stick with it. So because she's black, the black and greys became blue, and therefore she became quite blue. But it was contrasting with the yellow anyway, that was kind of intentional. Whenever I do a piece that's got a heavy colour for a light source, I try and contrast it with the shadows, make it the opposite tone. Finally adding in some of the tones now above on the top side of the head. I'm trying to make it so you don't have to rely on the pencil markings to know the shapes of the head and stuff like that, so I'm trying to really deepen the values throughout the piece. It all looked very one note, so I was trying to just layer the colours back up, utilise the different shades that I have already pre-mixed and really deepen the value throughout, and then, you know, so you become less reliant on the pencil sketch to see what's going on. Using a cotton bud there just to like lift up some of the water if I use too much on the brush. I used it to like dab and lift up any excess that I had by accident. Now here I am trying to fix the ear. I wasn't quite happy with it. I was trying to make the ear tone blend from purple to blue. Didn't quite like how it worked out. I'd say out of the whole piece that is the part that I remain still unhappy with. Just me, you know, being a bit nitpicky with my own work as I always am, but I did try and remedy it and fix it a little bit here, but I don't know how successful I was. Working on the chest now. This has the biggest contrast, I'd say, because the mouth jaw has quite a big highlight, and then right underneath that there is just almost black down there. So this is when I was bringing in my purple that I was using for a really dark colour and really trying to make that contrast stand out, and I do keep working at it, especially between the ears and the head, so you can see contrasting lines. Being very careful here not to ruin the tongue. I was very proud of that. So I'm just like very slowly with my fine brush drawing the lips in here and being careful not to ruin what I already have down. But watercolour's quite easy to lift up anyway, even if you do make a mistake. Made sure to leave some paper white showing through with doing the lips, just to have that highlight. I do go over it at the end with a chalk pen anyway, just to bring out the white even more, but leaving the white in there from the paper does help really add that contrast in. Added some red here. So Sugar had some chocolate stains on her face. She had them for years until her muzzle started greying and you couldn't see them quite so much. But so that red on the side is what that is. You can probably see it from the reference photo. Just to make the image look like her a bit more. And now we are working on the nose. I was quite anxious about this. Being as it's the focal point, like literally in the photograph, that is the part that's like in focus. I wanted to make sure that I did the nose right. Initially I wasn't happy with it, and then I just kept working at it and it came out pretty good. Decided to throw some purple tones in there just to break it up from the rest of the face. And as I say, the purple is being used as my darkest colour. And obviously made sure to put the pink in there from inside the nose. And get really strong highlights in there from that light source from the top left as well. In total it took about 3 or 4 recording sessions to do this, about 10 hours. You may have noticed that I've got different nails between the recordings. I did paint my nails A&M colours. So if you're wondering what I've got on my nails, I've got a Reveille and I've got an A&M logo. Apologies for the video colour being a bit funky towards the end. For some reason, whenever I use a certain colour pencil, my camera, I think I forgot to uncheck a colour setting. And for some reason, it would colour correct whenever the pencils came out, which didn't make an awful lot of sense. I'm at the point now where I'm bringing the pencils out. The pencils that I use is Castle Arts, and I have the coloured pencil set. It's not the golden colour pencil set or anything like that. I think it's just a standard one. So basically I've got all the watercolour base tones down and I'm going to go over it with pencils in certain areas. Mostly it's to add wispy lines where wispy lines would be seen. That wouldn't really be possible to do with watercolour. I did have to tape down the paper because it was curling because of the water, which made it very difficult to add the pencils in there. So I added some blue whispers and highlights here and there, and just making it look less refined on the edges, like below the ears and around the muzzle and stuff like that. So adding some details in the nose here, so skin lines and making it look the textured like an actual nose would be. Didn't quite like how it came out, but I like how it ended up when I went back over it with a chalk pen. I feel like that really helped blend that together and looked a bit less jarring. I also used the pencils to add some details in areas where it would be very difficult to do that with a watercolour. So I added some definition in the teeth. I also made sure to use my chalk pen to add some definition to the tongue, the nose, anywhere where you'd see a big sharp highlight from the light source on a wet area. And there we go, there's Sugar all completed in her lovely colourful glory. Hope you enjoyed the video and I shall see you for the next one. Bye bye, thanks for watching.